On May 22, 1945, three men were spotted near a checkpoint in Bremervord, northern Germany. Two of them strode confidently, dressed in long green overcoats, but it was the third man who drew attention. He had an eye patch and looked disheveled, trailing behind the others. His shaved head and distinctive eye patch caught the patrol's eye. They were taken to a checkpoint where British soldiers asked to see their papers. The third man's paper said he was a sergeant named Heinrich Himmler. He must have hoped that the document and his lowly rank would mean he would pass through checkpoints. He was wrong. On the documents was an official stamp, and British military intelligence had seen the same stamp and unit details being used by members of the SS who had been trying to flee. And so word had gone out that anyone else with those details was to be detained. Next morning, the three men were taken to a detention camp. Finally, they arrived at Camp Number 31 near Lunenburg. Here, a British captain named Thomas Sylvester began to question Hitzinger, setting the stage for an astonishing revelation. As Hitzinger removed his eye patch and put on small circular glasses, he disclosed his true identity, none other than Heinrich Himmler, the elusive leader of the SS, responsible for some of the most terrible crimes of the Nazi regime. After Hitler's death, Himmler became one of the most wanted Nazis still alive and a man responsible for many of the worst crimes of the Third Reich. And this is why he is known as the architect of Holocaust. Heinrich Himmler was born on October 7, 1900, into a regular family in Munich, Germany. As a young man, he dreamed of becoming a soldier, but his timing wasn't great. World War I ended when he was ready to join, and the Treaty of Versailles put a halt to Germany's military ambitions. Himmler then pursued farming and went to the Technical University of Munich. During this time, he joined a group that read nationalist and racist ideas, which were popular among certain groups in the politically charged years between the wars. Graduating in 1922, he had become a fervent nationalist. In 1923, Himmler became a part of the Nazi Party. Admiring its leader, Adolf Hitler, he left his job to dedicate himself to the party. He even marched with Hitler during the failed beer hall putsch in 1923. This event landed Hitler in jail temporarily, and Himmler used his time to rise in the Nazi Party ranks. He gave speeches focusing on the German race, the importance of expanding Germany, and the fight against its enemies. In 1929, Hitler made Himmler the leader of the SS, a group of that protected top Nazi leaders. Himmler wanted to make the SS an elite party of the Nazi Party. When he took over, the SS had only 280 members. But by 1933, when the Nazis gained power, Himmler had expanded it to 52,000 strong. He gave the SS new roles, maintaining internal security and promoting racial purity. In 1931, Himmler set up the Sicherheitsdienst, Security Service, or SD, to gather information about opponents within the Nazi Party, other political leaders, and government officials. By 1934, the SD had become Germany's main political intelligence agency. In 1939, Himmler combined the SD with the Reich Security Main Office, RSHA, solidifying his influence and power even more. During World War II, Heinrich Himmler showcased his remarkable organizational abilities. He directly oversaw the establishment of concentration camps and orchestrated the Holocaust, which tragically led to the mass murder of millions of people. Alongside these responsibilities, Himmler held a significant role in the Wehrmacht's advance into Eastern Europe. However, the situation drastically changed in 1945. The Third Reich was increasingly cornered by the United States' advance from France and the relentless progress of the Red Army from the east. Himmler's attempts to halt the Americans as Commander-in-Chief of Army Group Upper Rhine in January 1945 proved unsuccessful. Subsequently, he was appointed Commander-in-Chief of Army Group Vistula, tasked with stopping the approaching Soviet Union from reaching Berlin. Hitler's choice, in hindsight, was misguided. Himmler, lacking sufficient military experience for such a critical mission, displayed growing doubts about Nazi Germany's chances of victory. Nonetheless, he followed orders and established his command center in Schneidemühl, using a special train, the Sonnenwagen, as his headquarters. During this period of planning, Himmler's behavior became increasingly erratic. He rarely left his train, which lacked proper communication equipment, maps, and radio. His leadership deficiencies became evident in the German army's performance on the Eastern Front. As the Third Reich's downfall drew near on April 20th, Himmler met with Hitler for the last time to celebrate Hitler's birthday. Despite outwardly swearing loyalty to Hitler, Himmler had actually been negotiating with the Allies for peace since the arrival of spring. Just the day after Hitler's birthday, Himmler secretly met with Norbert Maser, a Swedish representative of the World Jewish Congress, to discuss the liberation of concentration camps. Himmler's actions were driven by his desire to save himself, a far cry from the loyalty he professed to Hitler. The Nazi leader made astonishing claims about gas chambers, saying they were only used for burning victims of diseases, even though the Allies already knew about the terrible acts committed by the Nazis. Himmler's actions were puzzling, especially as the horrors of Auschwitz were well known. In the days following, Himmler met with the head of the Swedish Red Cross, who told him Hitler's days were numbered and asked for a peace discussion. Despite his efforts to keep this secret, news broke, causing Hitler to explode in anger. He labeled Himmler a traitor, expelling him from the Nazi Party and dropping all charges against him. But just 2 days later, Hitler took his own life. Himmler's promises to the Allies fell flat as Eisenhower rejected his late peace proposal, branding him Nazi Germany's chief war criminal. The once powerful Nazi leader stood isolated and doomed, considered a traitor by the new German administration and the most wanted man by the Allies. With no options left, Himmler fled to Flensburg in northern Germany, where he hid. As the Allies closed in on May 20th, he attempted a desperate escape but was caught. Hours later, a medical officer found a cyanide capsule hidden in Himmler's cheek, and he ended his life. In a surprising turn of events, confidential documents that unveiled Heinrich Himmler's true identity remained concealed for 75 years, only coming to light recently after being generously donated to a museum. Alongside these documents, an unusual artifact emerged: the braces Himmler was wearing at the time of his capture. Adding to the intrigue are the chilling revelations from Himmler's wartime diaries, discovered in Russia. These diaries provide disturbing glimpses into his daily life, allowing us to peer into the mind of the Nazi SS chief who orchestrated the deaths of millions during the Holocaust. Serialized by the German tabloid Bild, these excerpts reveal unsettling details. For instance, Himmler nonchalantly noted a day where he had a relaxing massage before authorizing the execution of 10 Poles. He even recounted enjoying a snack at the Buchenwald concentration camp. The diaries also contain instructions from Himmler to train dogs that could rip people apart at Auschwitz, emphasizing the horrifying extent of his involvement in the atrocities. Himmler, who held the title of Reichsführer SS and was part of Adolf Hitler's inner circle, led the death squads responsible for the systematic murders of Jews, Poles, Soviet prisoners of war, Roma, and other groups considered racially inferior. Entrusted by Hitler himself, Heinrich Himmler bore the heavy responsibility of implementing what would become known as the final solution of the Jewish question. Tragically, this plan led to the deaths of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. But the extent of Himmler's reach went beyond this horrifying statistic. In the Soviet Union, his Einsatzgruppen units orchestrated the deaths of nearly 2 million more people. Now, 75 years later, reflecting on Himmler's legacy unveils a chilling narrative of terror and violence. He wielded his position and privileges adeptly, using them as tools to propagate his racist ideology throughout Europe and the Soviet Union. As Hitler's trusted right-hand man, he not only executed orders but actively shaped policies that inflicted immense suffering. This legacy of cruelty he left behind is a haunting reminder of the depths of human depravity. Amidst the chaos of World War II, Himmler managed to transform his beliefs into devastating actions that claimed countless lives. His calculated orchestration of systematic atrocities stands as a harrowing testament to his role as an architect of terror. His legacy endures as a stark reminder of the horrors that can unfold when unchecked power and hatred converge. Now, we would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the factors that led him to wield such immense power and orchestrate unspeakable atrocities? Please share your insights and thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on more compelling episodes of military history. Together, let's continue to learn.